right, guys. I'll make a start now. So I want to introduce you to the concept of nutrition care plan. This part of the orientation is recorded. It will be made available on Canvas, and it will be under the this module, which is like the welcome lecture. I'll make it available over there. All right. So nutrition care plan is what we will be doing every Wednesday in the workshop. Okay. So that is the concept that I'm introducing you to. Previously, nutrition care plan was taught as SOAP. Okay. And this SOAP is still used by other allied health professionals like physiotherapy, for example. Okay. So the dietitian world, they switched from SOAP to ADIME. So the way we address case studies now is through ADIME. We don't do SOAP. Okay. So Wednesday, we will be, you will have a case study. John, 48 years old, you already have the case study. This person, how do you start helping that person is through ADIME. Okay. So dietitians all around the world follow ADIME. Okay. So that is how you learn how to manage and address case studies. When I told you that I will teach you the skills of addressing clinical conditions so that after these 12 weeks, when you have some condition that you haven't studied in the classroom, you know how to do that independently because you know how to apply ADIME. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So the nutrition care plan is like the umbrella term within which you have these 5 pillars ADIME. Okay. So this nutrition care plan was first, where did it come from? From the United States. When did Australia start adopting it? 2009. By 2014, it became very, very common. A lot of hospitals, a lot of dietitians in Australia, they started shifting from SOAP to ADIME. Okay. 2015, hospital-wide implementation studies were conducted, predominantly in Queensland, Western Australia. It was successful. The way dietitians started charting their clinical notes, ADIME was much more helpful. So by 2017, officially 23 countries are doing ADIME. Okay, which is why somebody who is studying in here, they can go and practice in Malaysia, they can go and practice in Singapore, you can go and practice in the UK, in parts of Canada. Why? Because all of us are following the same system, ADIME, which is part of that nutrition care plan umbrella. Okay. All right. So this is basically ADIME has A stands for assessment, D stands for diagnosis, I stands for intervention, and MNE stands for monitoring and evaluation. Okay. So this together forms the nutrition care plan. Okay. So how do you nutritionally care for a person? By following ADIME. Does that make sense? Okay. What does nutrition care plan mean? Meaning, how are you nutritionally caring for the person? By implementing ADIME. Okay. So this is assessment, diagnosis, intervention, monitoring, evaluation. Okay. This is how we nutritionally care for the person. This is what dietitians are doing in 23 countries and more. Okay. All right. So what is the biggest difference between SOAP and there was a previous thing which had come out, ABCD and ADIME, ADIME. We call it ADIME. The biggest thing is you have the D over here, which is diagnosis. You need to be able to, as a dietitian, diagnose the nutritional problem. You're not diagnosing people of cancer. Okay. So the doctor does the cancer diagnosis. The patient comes to you. You know that the patient has cancer. You need to do a nutritional diagnosis. Okay. So that is the D, the missing link, which is why more and more countries around the world are using ADIME. Does that make sense? And we will use ADIME, which is why I'm doing one case study in workshop 1 and in your second week workshop. Same case study, I have broken it down into 2 parts. Why? Because in Wednesday's workshop, we will go through assessment and everything else we'll do in week 2 workshop. Why? Because assessment, the A over here, this has 4 parts. It has A, B, C, D: anthropometry, biochemistry, clinical, dietary. It's like 70%. Assessment is basically data collection. You are gathering data from the patient. Once you have the data, then you can diagnose the patient nutritionally. Then you can plan interventions for that person, what changes they need to make in diet. Basically, that is what it means by intervention. Then you monitor the person. How is the change? Is there a change happening? Good, bad? Do I need to change my intervention? And then you do evaluation. Okay, so does that make sense? The connection, right? Okay, so yes, once we do ADIME, we write something called as the progress note in the ADIME format. Okay, so that is legal documentation. This documentation is so important, which is why I have made a rubric for you. So if you see over here, these are 2 very, very important documents which you need to have: a data collection template. And once you collect all the information on the data collection template, then you write it in a progress note. So this template is what we will be using on Wednesday. So you will see how we use this template. And then progress note writing tips is what I have given you. So over here, guys, if you see this Word document template, which will open in like 2 seconds. Yeah. So this is your backend document. This is not the legal document. This is where you write whatever you want, whatever is helpful. This is your personal document. Okay. This is for you to explore. This is for you, your stuff. After this, you need to write a legal document, which is called as a progress note. Okay. So that progress note, I have created certain tips on how to write it. What goes in a progress note is ADIME. But how much of A, how much of B, how much of I, that depends upon individual cases. Okay. But ADIME is what we collect data on. ADIME is what we write. We write all of ADIME, but how much of assessment? I don't have the height. So do I write the height? What do I do? How do I do this? All of that legal writing, this is what is called as a progress note. We will learn about this in week 2. Okay. First, we will be doing the data collection document. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So, yeah, the progress note is the legal language with which dietitians communicate, which is ADIME. All right. And then you write about ADIME in your progress note. You collect data on ADIME in your data collection form. That is your personal document, the Word document. All right. Okay. So this is there in your handbook, chapter 7. So please check your handbook, chapter 7. What I speak about right now, the nutrition care plan, it introduces you to this concept in your handbook, chapter 7. But when I explain it in really simple layman terms so that when you read the chapter, it is not that overwhelming. Okay, but that is where you get the information. So 70% of what you do first is assessment. Assessment has 4 components: anthropometry, biochemistry, clinical, dietary. All right. So in week 1, Wednesday workshop, for the case studies that you have, we will be able to only do the assessment because it's so massive. All right. Then the same case study we will do in week 2. We will continue with that and we will do the DIME of that case study. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing which I'll do on Wednesday, apart from the assessment, this thing is I will introduce you to the SGA form, because SGA is what you'll be doing in week 2. So I'll introduce you to that concept this Wednesday. All right. Okay. So yes, I showed you the ADIME data collection form. It is this one. This is your backend document, personal document. You write whatever you want. Okay, this does not, the patient don't see it. Nobody sees this. Okay. Then you write a progress note. And these are the tips for writing a progress note. And when you write a progress note, this progress note is not seen by the patient. It is seen by other allied health professionals. The doctor will see it. The dietitian who's on a second shift in the hospital, she may see it. Occupational therapist, whoever is treating that patient will see it. Okay. So this is a hospital record. It's a legal document. This is a document that saves you, because sometimes if the patient feels he has not been treated correctly or something, if he sues you, this document then demonstrate, oh, actually she did do XYZ. She did the things correctly. Okay, so this is a very important document that you learn to create. Okay, so then, you will be learning about AD, diagnosis. Diagnosis has 4 parts to it. PES, which is problem, etiology, signs, and symptoms. Okay, this will make more sense to you in week 2 when I talk about it. All right. Okay, so we will be going through this diagnosis document. I'll show you how the NCPT form looks. So when we go to modules and when we go to your, uh, where is it? Print, yeah. So over here you have the NCPT. This is the P part of ADIME. Okay, diagnosis. The diagnosis, how do you do diagnosis? You break the diagnosis down into these 3 components: problems, etiology, signs, and symptoms. This is the D part of ADIME. Okay, and there is a document on how do you do the diagnosis. The document relates to the first one, P problem. So this is how it looks like. This is the latest 2023 version. After a couple of years, this document is revised. It is released by the American Dietetic Association, who made ADIME, and then all the countries who are following ADIME follow this document. Does that make sense? Okay. So you will see there are statements over here. These statements are all related to this one, P. You will learn how to select the correct P for the correct condition. Does that make sense? Okay. But this is the document behind it. All right. Okay. All right. So yes, this is called as, this document which I showed you, this PDF document, this is called as the NCPT document, Nutrition Care Plan Terminology. Google it. Okay, yeah. It's something like that. But if people tell you, show me your NCPT document, this is what they mean. Okay. And sometimes they call it eNCPT document, which is electronic NCPT document. Okay.